world. My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
My name is Raph, and I also love video games.
Hey friends, Vinny here, and I love video games.
And welcome, viewer, watcher, listener, to the Game Treasure Podcast, where us four, we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Warning, the Game Treasure Podcast is not for children, or anyone with a brain for that matter. Hello and welcome. We're so glad you're back, or if it's your first time visiting. Today we've got a great show for you. It is officially rolled past the first half of the year, and we have we have decided to begin our discussion now. Which discussion? Our Game of the Year discussion. We're going to talk about what games that have come out so far that we've been enjoying. I did pull some of the games that we talked about at the end of the year last year that we thought we were going to be excited for this year, and we'll see how that's stacked up so far. And yeah, we're going to look to the future. Anyhow, before we do any and all of that, we got to start our show off by going back in time with this week's Retro Zone. Buck, please send me back in time.
Let's go back in time. Retro Zone. Right?
I'm getting Warrior. I'm getting Hulking Monster. I don't know. What is it?
I love when he makes guest space in the song. That was a really good guess. This week's Retro Zone I'm bringing to you is one that was near and dear to me as a kid because I played a crap ton of it. You saw it in the arcades, and you may or may not have gotten to play it a whole lot. And then when it came to the home console, the NES, you may or may not have crapped your pants. I, of course, am talking about Gauntlet for the NES.
Okay. What?
Rock
I
and
was
roll.
almost
Welcome,
dead on.
Little Valkyrie.
You're pretty good, Valkyrie. Wizard needs food badly. I mentioned the arcade part because being an 80s kid, when you put money into Gauntlet, you got health, and your health slowly ticked down whether you were taking damage or not. So if you weren't very good at this
I
game.
didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Son of
bullshit.
a goddamn bitch. I did not know that. That is fucking bastard. I was about to say, man, this game was really hard. That's my main memory. Oh, yeah, that's fucking what.
It was hard because if you took damage from enemies, you took damage, and if you stood there and twiddled your thumbs, you took damage because that was the game's in-game timer, as
That
it were.
makes so much sense.
Put more money in, you get more health.
It's like a hunger mechanic in roguelikes. They want you to move, right?
So-
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I guess it is
in the
kinda
arcade
like that.
version of Gauntlet. It's 4 players. You could play 4 players simultaneously, like Ninja Turtles and some of the others. When we got this port, which is it's pretty gorgeous for an NES port.
I'd say
just-
so, yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah, for
this
sure.
when we were growing up.
Could only play 2
We
players
played
in
this
this,
quite
but
a
you
bit.
still had access to all 4 characters. Can we talk about the music and what a
God.
bop that theme song is?
100%, dude. I was hoping you'd bring that up.
Beep, 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 beep. It is the most medievally. It just nailed it. It nailed the aesthetic. Like it made you feel like you were about to go into a medieval dungeon. Now you'll notice here, kids and Brads and Bradettes, if you're watching your Spotify video or on YouTube, that I am holding the Tengen unofficial, unlicensed version of Gauntlet. What does that mean, Megabuck? Is that a bootleg of Gauntlet? No, it's not. See, back in the day, Atari kind of mucked up the video game universe, especially the home console, for a little while by letting developers make whatever they want. E.T.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat.
They
And
almost tanked all of video games. Whoopsie.
And the market got flooded with a lot of crap. And so Nintendo had the whole seal of quality, and they kind of oversaw that kind of thing. Could only release so many games a year. That's why Konami made spin-offs like Ultra, like the Ninja Turtles for the NES was released under the Ultra name, even though it was just them releasing
Operation
more games.
C for the Game Boy we saw
they
last week.
just releasing
by
under
Ultra.
the same people, just different
Yes.
name. They were skirting it. But in the case of Tengen, they said, F you, Nintendo. We're not playing by your rules or licensing them. But there was one problem. The NES had a lockout chip that wouldn't let them release games for it unless they had that hardware built into the game to be able to play on the NES. Well, Tengen also said F you, Nintendo, and reverse engineered it.
That's
So
got to be illegal in some capacity.
Well, Enter the lawsuit between Tengen and Nintendo, and I also hold in my other hand the licensed version of Gauntlet that came out after that lawsuit was done with, and they figured it out. Which has
shit right there.
The Nintendo seal of quality on
The
it.
black cartridge is pretty badass, though.
We had this one.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, didn't we have the Tengen one? Because I remember
These
being
were-
like black cart, super sick, and
Alien
this game's killing me.
Alien Syndrome, Rolling Thunder. There were quite a lot of Tengen games released on these black carts, these unlicensed carts, and most famously too, a lot of like the Bible adventure games were also released in unlicensed carts by a different company.
Oh, wow.
Noah's Ark and
You can't stop the word of God from being spread by the Nintendo.
So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna
reverse engineer it.
I circle back to the whitest kids you know with me, Luther B.
All right, who's your favorite character in Gauntlet, Buck and Raph and Venny?
You know, I probably like the elf because he's really fast. He has the bow. He has really good range, but he's super fast.
Raph?
Was it the elf? I thought the Valkyrie was the one with the bow. Is the Valkyrie the
Everybody has a ranged attack, but like the wizards was strong and shorter range. The warriors was the strongest, I believe, but really short range. And I think the Valkyrie was somewhere in the middle. The elf was the fastest and had the furthest range.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, she was like the all rounder. The Valkyrie was my favorite because you could kind of play however you needed to at the time. She was the all rounder of the group, so she gets my pick.
I like the wizard. The wizard.
Needs food badly.
Well, that is a you giving out the Tengen like
these are both from
versions?
the warehouse.
Yeah.
If you're 100% collecting the NES library, you can't not have both versions. We won't send you both versions unless you ask for the other one, because if you're playing them, it's a collectability thing. But they're both the same game.
I gotta ask: is there any difference in terms of like how they look, how they play, the Tengen version versus the licensed one? No.
I don't believe there's a difference between the two. No.
I like
Interesting.
that
Man, that's
the
fascinating.
art on the Tengen one is in such an orientation that if you were putting it into a toaster NES, it would look awesome going in because it would be like facing you. But yeah, when put in the upside down one, it would be backwards.
The one I got over there, it would look upside down. Yeah. That's funny.
What categories do I have to put in my retro game subscription to get Noah's Ark Bible study games?
Well, there's a hidden shovelware category.
Games that save your soul.
This is an arcade
Right.
game, straight up, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
kinda goes-
it's pre beat 'em up. I don't know,
yeah,
right?
definitely. And we do have fantasy as a subgenre too, so you would have
Perfect.
to select fantasy to get a game like Gauntlet.
Well, then you heard them. Go today to www.retrogametreasure.com and get yourself a copy of Gauntlet because you need Gauntlet badly. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back,
I see what you did there. I see
we're
what you
going
did
to
there.
talk about what we think the game of the year could be so far. See you on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boys, we're back and we're here to talk about our favorite games thus far in the year. As I said before, I went back and pulled some of the things that we said that we were excited about. We're going to see how that has come to fruition, if at all. Spoiler alert, some of them did not. / have not. So myself, for example, the number one thing I was most excited for was any information about Okami, and it has been 6 months, and we haven't gotten anything.
I mean, we're probably 6 years out from that game. Who knows?
Yeah,
It
I'm just saying. Death Stranding 2 was one that I mentioned as well. Raph, you mentioned Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
And I haven't fucking played it because I don't have a PS5. It's not out on PC yet, right?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Actually.
I don't believe so. So it's up to one of you PS5 toting gentlemen to dip your toe into Death Stranding 2.
I was wondering why you haven't jumped on that. I did not know it was a console exclusive.
And then the last game that I listed was Mecha Break. And guess what? It just came back and it fucking whoops ass still. So
We can dive into that, but yeah.
How many of us were super excited for Night Rain?
hold on.
Yeah,
I'm getting to it.
We'll get there.
Okay. All right.
So,
Yep.
Buck,
I'm just
let the
curious
host
about that,
host, man.
'cause-
Thank
All
you.
right,
Buck,
all right.
your number one on your list, I love your list actually, was Like a Dragon, Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii.
Okay.
You beat this game, yes?
I beat the snot out of it. I did.
How many
yes.
hours did it take? Do you know off the top of your head?
I have it pulled up on my thing here. Let's see. I did put a little bit more into it past beating it, because if you're not going back and doing more stuff, I put about 35 hours into it, which it's only like a 20-hour game.
I did not realize it was that short.
It was only like 20 hours. Yeah, 18, 20 hours.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Is it your game of the year? Is it probably not, I presume, right? Is it anywhere within the contending league?
It is. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun to have Pirate Majima. It was a Yakuza story through and through. It is nowhere close to my game of the year.
And then finally, most importantly, Monster Hunter Wilds was the game that you mentioned. Which, how many hours did you end up putting in Monster Hunter Wilds?
Monster Hunter Wilds, I have put about 150 hours into.
Whoa.
And that includes there was a trip to Japan that interrupted like a good 3 weeks of Monster Hunter play. So it probably would have been more.
When was the last time you dipped back into it? Do you recall?
There's another Game's Fault, which I'm sure we'll talk about, that is taking all of the Monster Hunter time.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to Raph. Raph, the games that you listed, first one was Doom: The Dark Ages.
Okay.
Oh.
Which we did end up playing a little bit and did do an episode on. It didn't hook me. Did you end up playing it anymore after we stopped the episode, or?
No, but I'll be honest with you. The only reason why was because I was afraid that it was going to make my computer burst into flames. Because it warns you in the beginning. It warns
was it
you.
making
Like,
jet engine? Was it making PS4 jet engine sounds?
I do have it on my list. The one I made for this episode as a potential contender for Game of the Year, but I don't know.
Really?
I learned that apparently it didn't really sell as much as even Doom Eternal. So unfortunately, I don't think it's actually going to be a true contender.
Was that based on like overall, like how much Doom Eternal sold since it came out, or did they like time that? Like how many copies did Doom Eternal sell in like the first 3 months versus?
I believe it was in its opening first like month or two. Yeah.
I'm just curious because I think a lot of people have revisited that game and enjoyed it.
Well, I think the main reason why is because it's on Game Pass, and a lot of people didn't actually physically pay to buy it. They downloaded it on Game Pass. Yeah.
He said laughs maniacally.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, the other game leads us into, I think, our Game of the Year discussion, which is Elden Ring Night Rain was the game that you had mentioned. Benny, you were not here for this episode in particular, but do we talk about Elden Ring Night Rain now, or do we save the best second whatever for last? Because there's been a lot of really good games this year, y'all.
I actually don't think it's going to be the Game of the Year, even though it is my Game of the Year. I don't think it's going to be.
Are we talking about the game, or are we just diving right into? No, fuck it, it's not winning.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into it until we get into it. But I think there is another game that is going to take the Game of the Year. It took everyone by storm, and I don't think anyone expected it.
I have a couple that I'll throw on the table and see what everyone thinks. And if
is he actually
first
talking about what I think?
Well, there's a bunch.
What do you got,
first, Expedition 33.
Okay,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
A game that wasn't on our radar, and when Buck finished it, he said to me, "I think it's one of my favorite RPGs, right up there with Final Fantasy 7 and 6."
I think Claire Obscure is gonna take the Game of the Year personally. That's what I think.
Really?
I think so.
Why?
Because it took I could not stop seeing it on social media when it initially came out. I'm still seeing content online for it. People are still talking about it like it is their favorite game of this year. I don't know. I think it's going to take everything by storm.
I like Raph's take on this because he has not played that game. So he's just going by social media reaction and gamers' reactions to it.
And just watching you guys talk about it, I'm just like, this game is pretty big. I don't know.
Buck, we both played it, but you've definitely played it. You played it with a capital P. I don't know. Do you think that it swings Game of the Year? This tiny little studio, the first game ever they've ever made?
The short answer is yes.
Really?
I have looked at what we played. And I had looked at what's coming out the second half of this year. It's not really fair. because of the full package that game brings. I mean, the invoking storytelling that you get from just a really, really good movie, and all of us that know that have played a 20, 30, 40-hour RPG, you can get when it's really well done. I will compare it right away to like a Final Fantasy VII to be invoking of emotions and my give a shit-o-meter about the characters. I cared about a handful of them in the first. If you don't cry in the opening act, you're not human. And then by the end, you care about all of the characters. You just want to. I want a buddy cop comedy show of just Verso and Minoko. That's what I really want in life. But the things like that, the music is like award-winning level. That soundtrack,
fully orchestrated, amazingly arranged.
And if you go lower than that, like the just the melody of like a couple of tracks like Lumiere and Gustave and some of those will like resonate the same way that like Red Wings Over Baron like can play back in my head over and over again. Like I can hear a handful of tracks from Expedition 33 just in my head over and over. The gameplay is an acquired taste for a turn-based RPG. I know it turns some people off a little bit. I know like when Matt get frustrated a little bit with it, but it really opens up right around that point in the game where you were at there in that section of, I think it was the end of like Act 1 or so. And so once you kind of get used to that and the way that it is, you then start to build your characters where they do like amazing combos with each other. Just for a turn-based game, they did such a great job. I still cannot believe that this is a first game.
Like former Ubisoft devs. They got fed up with working at
not
Ubisoft
the first game that they've done, but
Right,
the first game that they did together as a studio. Like talk about freaking teamwork. Holy shit.
Dude, and honestly, a game that will make Square Enix stand up and take notice and say, hey, maybe turn-based games aren't a way of the past.
Yeah.
Like that,
and
I think that's worth noting. Yeah.
And it did. They brought that up. I just saw another post today or yesterday this past week that was another developer. I can't remember which one but it was a developer of a AAA studio, like a lead designer, like a name, like someone that we know, like a Randy Pitchford or something, from Borderlands, from Gearbox, someone like that said, I just beat Expedition 33. Holy crap. The bar that this little studio has set for some of us to be able to put together a package like this.
Yeah.
So I just checked, and I don't think a turn-based RPG has ever won Game of the Year.
Really?
Baldur's Gate.
That's not a turn-based RPG. That's a
It is.
CRPG.
It's a strategy RPG, I guess you could say.
I get what
People
you're
can
saying,
take the
Benny,
same turn
but
at the same time.
It is,
and
yeah,
there's
that- at
and
that
then you're
point
not.
you're arguing,
If you played,
semantics,
you
but yeah.
you instantly agree with Expedition 33 with the idea of your characters are lined up in a row. You don't maneuver on a board.
You mean like a
So-
JRPG style sort
exactly.
of like turn-based?
A
I get
turn-based
what you mean, yeah, yeah.
JRPG.
I get both sides of that argument.
Yeah.
I mean, my point is that it's just like it would be the first game where a line of heroes line up on this side and then villains line up on that side. I was like, man, I wonder when the last one was, and I'm just like, Baldur's Gate 3 is close in 2023. Outside of that, there's nothing.
Can we
It's a
call this a
fairly
win?
action
niche-
games.
If it
And
wins,
first
can we
person
call it
shooters.
a win if last year's win was an RPG and this year's win is an RPG? Like, we can call that a W, right?
Last year's was Astrobot. Technically.
Astrobot.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
what was Baldur's
right,
Gate
yeah,
the year
yeah.
before?
Yeah, Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate.
Gate, yeah, it was 2023.
Okay, so RPG, not an indie game, but not a AAA game. And then maybe another RPG now by a small studio. Man, that'd be a cool run.
Hey, dude, that'd be great. Honestly, I think the turn-based RPG genre has gotten so much hate for far too long and for all the wrong reasons. Like, it's for people whose reason for belly aching it is none other than, but I like my Fortnite's better than that. No,
Yeah, sure.
you underestimate an entire genre of gaming that practically built an entire fandom across multiple platforms. So shut the fuck up. Give respect where it's due.
They don't know how.
They don't understand.
They don't have somebody to complain about their life is empty.
I was 60 frames a second and now I'm 58. These devs don't know what they're doing. I
Another
swear,
game
gamers
that
these days.
came out of nowhere that I feel like could be argued that I'm surprised Buck didn't even. Blueprints. Another
that's on
game
my
that
list
Buck
too,
absolutely
yeah.
turned inside out. That took me by surprise in all the best ways. as far as being something. I mean, Expedition 33. When I was playing it, I was just like, holy shit, this is incredible. Whoever made this game is very familiar with JRPGs and writing.
Yeah.
But Blueprints was just something that made me just be like, holy fuck, it's Animal Well.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, thank you so much for making a 3D version of Animal Well.
It's
but
definitely getting a nomination for sure.
I think it might just be too. Maybe it might win
Too
Indie
niche.
Game of the
Right,
Year
too
or
obscure.
something.
Yeah. Thank
mainstream.
you. Yeah.
Because it's just too hard.
But
It's just.
the hard-
I don't think
yeah.
a lot of people are going to see it through.
It's funny you say that though, because I was at I went to a Magic draft at a friend's house because Final
Hell yeah.
Fantasy Magic the Gathering, and met a couple of really nice guys, and we were talking about games, and one of them said, "Yeah, Blueprints, yeah, it was good, but then it got really hard when I had to look up stuff on the internet," and I went, look up stuff on the internet.
It's a fucking puzzle game.
You
dude.
cheated in Blueprints in an RPG when you're stuck in
Some
a
of them were
dungeon
pretty
because
hard. It was like looking shit up in Animal Well. You know what I mean? I stopped playing because I was like, I cannot figure out what's going on right now. There's too. You're an expert sleuth, Buck, is what you have to understand. You are a dedicated fucking prop.
Thanks.
We literally in
love
that
that shit.
episode we talk about how Buck is used to set up little puzzle rooms, a la Blueprints
your own
in our house
blueprints.
when we were children. So I'm just saying, if anyone's gonna figure it out, it's gonna be you. But for us normies, I don't know if it's going to pierce the veil of enough people.
I don't think so either. I think
even though it's well decorated.
I think
you're
it's
right.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these games that we're talking about today, I think the biggest thing that they all have in common is they all have really amazing consistency from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Expedition 33 and Blueprints and probably a couple of others we're going to talk about hereafter. I've played a lot of great games, and unfortunately I'm going to point out a game that I absolutely love that did this to me, and that would be Indigo Prophecy, aka Fahrenheit. Strongest opening of a game I've played in a long time, and it just slowly Venny knows what I'm talking about. It just slowly tapers off into like, we didn't know how to end it. That's our bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I wish some of us had played a little bit of Death Stranding too, because I hear it's great. People are
Same.
basically been saying it's like Death Stranding 1 with all the bullshit taken out, and and it's longer.
So is
And
it just you sitting on a
and
couch
it's
watching
Hideo
TV?
Kojima making another Death Stranding after some time. I can't help but feel like people might give it the Game of the Year awards. Even I have no comments on it, but just as a person who's been watching video games for a long time, I could easily see it also getting the nod.
Quick question: since we're on the subject of Death Stranding 2, has anybody heard or read? Like, is it an absolute requirement that you have played and beat part 1 in entirety to enjoy part 2 and understand it? Or is it one that it will catch you up and then you can just go ahead and enjoy yourself?
There's a recap at the beginning of the game that you can watch.
Okay.
That people said
Right.
it's just like, it's not any less confusing than just playing the first one, which is like
With no spoilers, I saw part of what it was, and it still made zero sense except for like the
So-
main point. So okay,
I played about the first 20 hours of Death Stranding 1,
same.
and it was a really cool time. But it couldn't keep my attention because, it's oversaturation these days in gaming. We have 15 awesome games a year instead of 3 like we used to. So it's just impossible. So like for me to even be able to give Death Stranding 2 a chance, which I would like to, I just need some assurance that, hey, look, I don't have to go back and beat part 1. I could catch up in some way and still, get the full experience. So you're never going to get the full experience, obviously, but you know what I mean? Close
it's
as you
not
can
even
get.
that for me. It's the fact that there are so many other good games to play that if I had to spend 20 hours of this 30-hour RPG doing one dungeon over and over again, I have to really, really want to be playing that more than anything else. There's a lot of other great games that I've gotten partially through. I started to play that frickin' Sea of Stars DLC came out, and I started playing it. And then Expedition 33 came out, which wasn't even on my radar. And I checked that out, and I went, wow, this is, and Mac gushed about it. And I went, oh my. And I shelved Sea of Stars completely to do that. It's nothing wrong with that little expansion they made. It was a lot of fun so far, but I had to jump for this amazing piece of art that was in front of me.
you'd said, running the same dungeon over and over again, putting a bunch of time into the same thing. That's ironic because
Isn't
to
it?
say the last game, which is Elden Ring Night Rain.
Yep.
Because, since I'm talking, I think this is the game of the year.
Wow.
This game is doing the same amount of taking social media by storm that Raph explained Expedition 33 has done.
Oh, so it's not just my algorithm.
Nope. Nope, definitely not. I mean, I guess I wouldn't know.
Yeah, right.
What is water?
Right.
But
True.
dude, Elden Ring. Let's go back a very short amount of time and go back to when Elden Ring came out. Remember how everyone was like, "This is incredible." It happened again. Now everyone loves it. Also, people who don't even fuck with FromSoft games like this game see Buck. Or not that Buck doesn't fuck with FromSoft, but just like takes a long break.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, right, Rain? I didn't play Elden Ring. Let me just see what's going on. Cut to 200 hours later.
I bought it
Just
because I knew Venny was gonna like it because he loved Elden Ring and he loves the Souls games way more than I do. And I was like, it's multiplayer. It's only $40. Some of my friends are gonna have it. If I don't buy it, I'm gonna miss out on playing it. So I'm gonna buy it because they're gonna buy it, and I fell in love.
It has the auteur leg up, like how Death Stranding 2 will have. It's got a fantastic score. Those games people have always enjoyed their score, but then the gameplay loop is just the best one that I've interacted with this year.
Yeah.
As far as just like doing a lot, I basically play until my eyes hurt. Like the past 2 days. I don't know. We'll have to see the mainstream reception to it. But from what I've seen, it's basically just like everyone pretty much likes it.
Yeah.
And that was a game series that already was super duper popular. If they keep adding shit like they've been doing, if they add more classes, if they do more raids, it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like it deserves it. It's so fucking good.
I got a question because we talked about it earlier, and it did come out, I think, earlier this year, right? Monster Hunter Wilds. That also, when it had initially come out, kind of took social media by storm. A lot of people that had never played a Monster Hunter game before played that one. As far as I've seen recently, it's got like an overwhelmingly negative score on Steam because of something about the recent updates breaking it or something like that. I don't know.
Just a graphics thing, yeah.
Well, either way, do you think Monster Hunter has a leg in the race? Like, do you think that it may be a contender for Game of the Year as well because of how popular it was at the beginning of the year? You know, we talked about recency bias that happened very early on in the year and was pretty big. So a lot of units. What do you think?
I don't think it's recency biased in this case. I enjoy both those games.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved the Monster Hunter series, and I feel like this is one of the best most accessible ones that they've ever made. And I enjoy it a lot. The problem has become when there's only so much time that you have. Night Rain just keeps grabbing my attention with that dungeon delving. I just found out today that the little open air camps, the ones that are like broken walls, have hidden passages, have breakable floors and hidden passages behind them. Me and Venny and another buddy of ours had a run the other day where that little broken tower that always has the bows on it that you love so much, Mac, that little half-broken tower, fucking Eye of Sauron appeared over it in the middle of a run. Some voice taunted us, and we're like, oh, is it Margot? Is he invading us? Oh, no. Oh, is it Libra? Is he making us curse? No. Giant red circle on the map, and Eye of Sauron just beaming down slowly, making us all madness tick up and go crazy. And we were like, we tried to climb the tower. You can't get to it. You can't stop it. It's like, never seen that before.
Yeah, can't interact with it. Can't hit it. Can't do anything
haven't seen
with
it since.
Just
Wow.
like, get away.
They took away so many of the barriers to entry that people normally find with a FromSoft game. Like,
Right.
I don't have enough time. Like, Buck was just like, I don't know if I want to sink this. It's like he could have beaten regular Elden Ring in the amount of time he has played Elden Ring Night Rain.
I would like to speak to that, though, because I think you just hit a very important thing on the head, Mac, without, even realizing it. The exact thing you just said, the amount of time it takes in playing Elden Ring or any FromSoft game for that matter, to when you start feeling powerful is a very, very long curve. You're talking tens of hours before you start to feel strong. You start to feel strong within 15, 20 minutes of playing Night Rain. And it's that satisfying feeling of, oh man, I just found this great staff. I got a really great spell. This is going to carry me through the rest of the run. Whereas if I was going to try to find that same spell and get that strong in Elden Ring, I'm 30 hours invested just to get that same sense of power. So, I mean, I loved Elden Ring. The year it won Game of the Year, I poured many, many hours into it, and I would not take that back. But if I had to choose one or the other, there's no question, I would choose Night Rain, because you get the full experience of like the fighting the big bosses, the seeing the cool environments, the getting to explore all you want with no limitations. And, you know, really, that to me is a lot more empowering as a gamer, and really gets it really just scratches an itch a lot more than, you know, following a preset path or like a couple of paths you can take, because these are the big gear checks, skill checks to get you to a next phase of the game. It's very orderly, and, you know, it's step by step by step. This is different. I mean, Buck described it the other day as like the adult Fortnite that he never knew he needed. And I was like, you know, that's pretty fair, because you get all the things we like. You get these big, heavy action RPG elements that really, I think when that magic formula comes together, it's like nothing else, like those really strong fantasy RPG elements, but you get it in a nice 30 to 40 minute bite-sized run, which I don't think has been done before at that level of quality. Right. And that's why this game is so good. However, it's not going to be Game of the Year. Uma Musume Pretty Derby, horse racing anime girls is going to be Game of the Year, baby. Mark my words.
Okay, so this horse racing thing, clarify for me. Is it a video game company has made an anime based off of their video game? Because I was trying to look it up, and I cannot figure out what is happening with this show.
It was a 2017, 2018 anime. It started back then, and it's been growing. And there's been a couple of movies, a couple of OVAs.
It started as a joke, actually.
And they released like a party game at some point. And now, just last week, Uma Musume Pretty Derby, which translates directly into horse daughters in Japanese, by the way. It's available on mobile and Steam, and you can link your accounts. It is a free-to-play horse racing RPG. And it's based on actual horses in Japanese racing lore that have turned into cute little anime girls. And it's the most wholesome thing I've ever seen. And people are going nuts over this thing. UMA Musume, MUSUME.
I got it. Boom. I'm downloading it.
Pretty Derby.
I'm downloading it. He said it's free.
Free to play. Gold ship all day. All day. She's my girl.
Buck,
anyway.
You already said you think Expedition 33 is going to win Game of the Year. Raph, do you feel the same?
I want Night Rain to win Game of the Year, but I think it's going to be Expedition 33.
Wow.
I mean, if there's like an ongoing, service or live service, or whatever I think that's what Night Rain. I don't know if they planned this, but that is what it became. Like, they planned just enough content to really keep us happy for the first couple months, which is more than a lot of these companies plan by releasing the Everdarks and giving us rotations of that. But I brought up like the Eye of Sauron thing, because it's like variations like that happen 1 in 100 runs are what keep it really interesting. So you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. The sky is now the limit of them. They're adding the duo queues, and you could add longer runs. You could add shorter runs. You could add 5-day runs. You could add 1-day runs. There's
PvP.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do.
Yeah, I hope it wins. Elden Ring already won, as we said before, so I think it'll just fucking win again. Why not?
I'm glad we're talking about it.
There are some games that still haven't come out yet this year, unless anybody has a game that's come out that we haven't mentioned. Is there any other?
What else is coming?
Okay. Donkey. Oh, or Vinny?
I was just gonna say, I really at the beginning of this year, I was really all in on Monster Hunter, and I really hope it still can pull itself up and have a good spot in the running, because that's my top game so far, to be honest with you, all joking aside. I just love the formula. It's something I can play by myself or with friends and have equally, as good of a time. And they have released some additional content and challenges and timed events and stuff like that. But if I'm being honest with myself, Elden Ring has done it a little better so far than Monster Hunter. So as much as I gravitate toward Monster Hunter, and if that was where I was throwing my hat in the ring, I just don't think it's going to have the sticking power that Elden Ring has.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It's my pick, but I don't think it's going to win.
All right. Don't make you can make World of Warcraft just because there's an EverQuest, right?
That's true.
It's like that
Be a good
year.
one
What
and a better
it
one.
snubbed.
Wow, you're speaking my language. Holy moly.
What was
You brought
the
up
PlayStation
EverQuest.
5 game with the red-haired lady that Elden Ring absolutely destroyed because it came out of the same year.
Melania.
What? What game?
No, not the red-haired lady in Elden Ring. the Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the sequel came out the same year as that, and the first one came out the same year as
Alloy.
Breath of the Wilds. But anyhow, this game's
Bad timing.
Monster Hunter
Right.
picked a bad year to come out right next to Night Rain.
They came out early, so they sold their copies.
Yes, they sold a lot of copies. Anyhow,
fair.
games that are still yet to come out. Biggest one for me, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
That's
Okay.
soon too.
Because-
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
If it's as good as Mario Odyssey and it's about Donkey Kong doing all the shit that we saw him doing, I could see it just taking over everyone's hearts in that game, running away with it.
That's where this is a funny category for me, Game of the Year, because one of the biggest draws to Night Rain for me is playing with other people and playing with my friends. I really enjoy that, and I feel like that is a very different game than Expedition 33, which is a very different game from like a single player Donkey Kong. That's why the Game of the Year category is so hard. You know, you got
I
best
wanted to
actress and
ask
best
you-
supporting.
I wanted to ask you too, Buck, while you're on the subject, because probably 90% of my runs in Night Rain have been with you and a couple of our other friends. You know, mainly you, me, and Apollonius X. Do you think that is the standard experience for most people in getting to play with friends, or do you think the standard experience is a frustrating mix of solo queue with good people and solo queue with bad people?
I'm on the Night Rain subreddit a lot. I mostly lurk, but another thing that they did, which was fucking genius, was those group passwords.
Yeah.
And so the multiplayer and group passwords will let you group with particular people. And
You can do
so
this in
those
Elden Ring.
frustrating matches still exist. They do. One of the things they implemented was if a player leaves, the bosses scale down. And I have cleared with 2 people. I have cleared a whole run with 2 people more than once. But if you put in the first password, you'll get like-minded people like this. And then I myself was even wondering at 200 freaking hours, what are all the other passwords for, the group passwords? And I just learned this week that if you put those in, it lumps you in groups with people of those groups that you've asked for, and it becomes a slightly more Elden Ring experience. And what I mean by that is, you know, the little ghosts you see running around and the dead players that are in red, it grabs more players from those groups. You can be running a run like side by side with another group and you don't even know it, and they can open a Sorcerer's Rise and it will come through to your realm and open it for you.
No way.
Whoa.
Wait, that's fucking
That's-
crazy.
that's
Hold on.
brilliant.
Say that again? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So you
Don't
put
make
in
him
the
explain it again for
Yeah.
the listeners, please.
But you put in the group. I'll tell you later about group
Yeah,
codes,
no,
Raph. You put in
okay.
the group codes, and you're cross realming. It's so they thought of these things without throwing them at us. You know, sorry.
That's sick.
Nice tangent, right?
Yeah. But as far as games that haven't come out yet, the only other one that I think could possibly hold a candle, I mean, I wish it was the Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles remake that's coming out. Amazing. But if Metal Gear Solid Delta is the best it could be, maybe it could be in the talk of the consideration.
We've had remasters win that before, right? Game of the Year. What remasters?
That's
remakes?
a great question, and I don't know. Because it's like a remake, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean they recorded new dialogue, and it's definitely not an up-resed game, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah.
all new
I don't have
gameplay and all that. Yeah.
the list here in front of me again, but I can't think of a remaster. Off
I
the top
can't
of my
either.
Head.
Like ones like Last of Us and those, like they were good. The originals, I think, won Game of the Year, but the
Right.
remasters didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
None of the
No,
Final
I'm
Fantasy
not
remakes or
seeing
anything
one.
like that, right?
Right. So
I'm
that
not
would
seeing
be
one.
a pretty big deal. I don't know. Same thing, right? Like so many more people play video games than compared to 10, 20, 30 years ago. Is Metal Gear really a mass marketable, game like it used to? Is it going to sell numbers like, some of these huge AAA games? We know it'll sell numbers. We know it'll sell a crap ton of copies.
Yeah.
But will it sell a metric crap ton of copies? Enough for Konami to make a new one.
Well, I was about to say, without Kojima, I don't think it can, especially in a year where Death Stranding 2 has come out. I don't know if Metal Gear Solid Delta could.
2 Kojima games in a year? Wait a minute.
He's not making it.
What if this game sucks because he's not sitting in that room, pointing in directions?
But my premise was, what if it was the best game possible, and it spoke spiritually to this game that is a cult banger?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it could be in the running, because outside of that, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake is coming out. Ghost of Yotei, which is the Ghost of Tsushima sequel. It got rated poorly by that kid who had the terminal illness. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What? Oh my God, what?
It's like, so you got like a Make-A-Wish was to play Ghost of Yotei early, and then he wrote a review like that was scathing about it. It was so...
Was it like a really early version?
Oh,
That's
dear.
not fair.
And then Silent Hill F is coming out. Konami Silent Hill F, which looks pretty dope.
I don't know if that'll get a game of the year, but it'll definitely
I don't think
be up
so
there.
As well. I think it's going to be either Expedition 33 or Elden Ring Night Rain. That's my
all this
opinion.
discussion and watch it be something absolutely stupid like Stellar Blade or some shit.
The thing is,
we
it
didn't
could
play
be
that-
something we have no fucking clue about yet,
Yeah.
because Expedition 33 was a game we had no fucking clue,
True.
and yet
Yeah.
here we are.
I was
That's the beauty of
looking
video
at that
games.
list and looking at all the games that have come out like the first 6 months of this year, and I feel like, first of all, I feel like I hadn't heard of 75, 80% of them. And then of the other 20%, I know I only played half of them at most.
Shit, remember that Indiana Jones game that came out?
Right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That shit slapped.
game.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, good game, but it didn't blow people away like some of these have. The funny thing with Night Rain is that all of those people that love to bitch on the internet are still loving it. Like they still love it and they keep playing it and they keep coming back to it. They're like, no, you guys did just enough to really make this a lot of fun.
It's got that FromSoft charm. Well, hey, I think you know how we now feel as it currently stands with the Game of the Year discussion. We will see if Elden Ring Night Rain changes. And, I think it's a little late for Expedition 33's reception to change. Everyone pretty much liked it. We'll see if by the end of the year, people still remember that it was there. Whereas Night Rain will probably still be being played by at least some people. But I digress. Let us take a quick break, and when we come back, we will do our What Else You Got and end our show. See you on the other side.
Let's celebrate.
Okay, welcome to the What Else You Got, the portion of our show where we can bring anything to the table, be it video game or otherwise. Gentlemen, what else have you got? For me this week, I have several video games. I think me and Raph are going to share. I think I know what Raph's going to pick, and I'm excited to talk about his as well. But I played a game called The Alters, which is on PC and Xbox, and it's on Game Pass. It's made by 11-Bit Studio, which is the guys that did This Little War of Mine, and it's very similar in gameplay. But it's kind of hard to summarize. But it's like the ship walking and talking parts of Fuga got combined with the resource gathering moments in God, I always forget that space. No Man's Sky. With the visual spice of a Walmart brand Death Stranding. So you play as a guy who wakes up from a spaceship crash, and all of his crewmates are dead. And you're on this random crazy ass planet that's got all this volcanoes and shit erupting or whatever. And off in the distance, you see your main ship which is this giant ring. And you run to it, and you get inside, and there's like a big grid map that shows up. And you play as like your guy from a 2D perspective, literally just like Fuga, like walking left to right. You're taking ladder or elevators to go up and down. And it's your little 2001 Space Odyssey, like, what do they call those? The space station, like on the ground, if you will. And so it becomes like a resource management / base building game. But the spaceship is super big, and you can't do anything by yourself. I'll say this as part of that. The first hour of this game is so slow and fucking you have
Like
to
world
trudge
building
through
slow,
this
or?
first hours to get into the actual like act 1. There's like an epilogue that happens with where it's just like not the best acting and not the best writing, but
oopsie,
when you get to this important moment in the game, it turns good, and that is you get contacted by like the corp that's like sent you out there in the first place. And the thing that you're like, the ship's too big, I can't do all this by myself. And they tell you that there is a supercomputer on board that uses quantum computing to analyze your DNA and find moments in your life in which you could have made a different choice.
Jeebus.
And that would, if doing so, you would result in becoming a different person. And then it clones a version of you that is that version, and those versions of you have different skill sets.
Oh my god!
So
everything everywhere all at once.
it is basically it's a quantum computer, so it's literally like a multiverse computer. And the premise is like you go and you'll see your dude's timeline, and there's like 24 events on it, and he's like, I think he's like in his 30s, and they're like all the way from like being a child, and there's like early childhood memories to like deciding to not go to college because you don't want to leave your mom alone with your alcoholic dad. However, if you alter that moment in time and go to college,
if you shoot your dad and then
if you alter that moment in time and go to college instead of staying, your guy would have become a scientist, and so you make that alteration and clone a version of you that is a scientist. And then every time you make a new version of yourself, you have to immediately have a dialogue with them about it, like, because they're like, where am I, what's going on? And you're like, hey, what's up with you? Because they have all of your memories and then all of these fake ones, and then like you recruit a botanist. And the thing that changes in his life is just like, instead of like his wife raising the kids, he raised the kids. And so she went and like got a job, and he just like got into plants. And then cut to a series of events, and now he's good at botany. And the first thing he says is, "Where's my wife?" And you have to be like, and you have all these choices, and one of them is just like, it's not actually your wife in quotation marks. And I don't know. It's an interesting premise. Like, once you get into this, they introduce you one character at a time. You got to like hang out with them, kind of like Persona, to like unlock more powers for them and shit. Like, there's like a guy a version of you that's a miner, and somewhere in his storyline he lost his hand. And you have to like talk to him about that, because he's like, why do I have my hand back? And you're like, well, because that's a fake memory. You're not, like, you have to Westworld him. Like, this is not real. None of this is real. You're fake. And he just like is really pissed about it. And I was like, in the game right now, I'm like, I don't know how to talk to this guy. He just like is existential crisis out.
It's angry you.
I do know this. When I set him out on a mining expedition, he gets 50% more minerals from me. Because the other half of the game that isn't building your base is you literally, from a third-person perspective, like explore a little chunk of map, and you like make tools for yourself to explore it easier. There are parts of it that are like filled with like radiation poisoning, so you gotta like do this and that to get through them. But that part is not all that fun, to be honest. Like, it's there's no jump button, and so you're in the running is kind of janky. The spaces are mostly empty. It's just like a sort of a thing you have to do to establish a base, so that you can begin like processing these like minerals and metals and water and food, and you got to do all this shit. I at first It's very slow, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then once I got to that part, I went, oh, this is Space Stardew Valley. I like this now. It's the part of Stardew Valley where you're just optimizing your farm. I now like this. And everyone's me, so that's funny. But yeah, so that is the game that I played this week. The Altars. Go and check it out. It's pretty cool. Buck,
Wow.
what else have you got for us this week?
Guys, they finally did it. Venny knows this. Five Nights at Freddy's is in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Springtrap
money
is in
money.
Dead by Daylight. Holy smokes, my dude.
He's really fun.
He's really cool too. Like
What are
his
his powers?
So his powers are, he has some weird fire axe thing. Don't worry about that. His powers are when he spawns into a level. It's cool, but it's not like Five Nights at Freddy's. It's just like they gave him a thing. His power is whenever he's in the level, security doors will spawn all over the map. So you know he's your killer if you see a random security door sitting next to a building or in the middle of a field, because it's just thematic. And what it is you and him, but you can walk up as the survivor, walk up to the security door. It pops into a Five Nights at Freddy's overlay, like UI.
Camera grid.
With the grid with the little freaking double switch night trap, things, cameras at the bottom, and you can switch between all those different cameras, and you can look around the map to see where he might be. He can walk into those security doors and walk through the security room for Five Nights at Freddy's, and then walk out any of them, basically teleporting around the map.
Cool.
And the survivors can try and spot him through security cameras. Otherwise, he loses the terror radius, which is the heartbeat that the killer's coming. And the kicker there is the players can also use the doors to teleport around the map. But you go to like a hub in the middle, the security room, and come out the other side to teleport. And if he teleports at the same time as you, then you bump into the killer in the security room and he catches you.
Catches you, pulls you out, walks you out of a security door with you on his shoulder, and can hook you immediately.
Were there
It's
any
badass.
survivors with that update too? Like new survivors?
No. But have you guys all seen the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Really?
No.
Dang it.
Why, was there something from that in there?
Yes. Something very important. But
Yes.
it's a spoiler.
May I see it? No.
But no, because it'll spoil it as to who the killer is.
Okay. All right. Well, that is awesome. I know you fucking guys love that game, and I do
cool.
see you in there in between Nightmare rounds playing some
That's
Dead
pretty
by
cool
D.
too. So we've been playing that, and I got one more here. The new kill teams have come out.
Oh yes, you've been talking about these bad boys.
I got bugs. I can't help myself. I painted them all already.
Sweet dude.
So I have a squad of Raveners, which are
badass.
snaky-like Tyranids
So
that
cute.
burrow underground.
Those are cool,
Space
man.
Marine. We played some Space Marine. They're the guys who fight a lot at the very beginning of Space Marine 2. That
Nice.
burrow underground a lot and are total jerks. I'm going to play as the jerks.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited. You only get 5 of them, which is crazy in Kill Team, where you usually get Space Marines get 6 units. These guys only get 5
Wow,
units.
even less.
Yeah.
Very nice. Raph, what else have you got for us this week, sir?
Well, I guess as of the release of this episode, it'll be a week back and also 2 weeks back that I streamed a fun little game called Peak.
Yes. I'm glad it's done.
Yeah.
Kicks ass, honestly. I had a really great time with it. It's both meditative
That looked
and
cool.
hilarious. The premise is pretty simple. You and some friends crash land on a little island, and you have to climb to the top of this mountain, the highest peak on the mountain, and you have to signal for rescue. The mechanics
Made by
of
a
this,
company called Aggro Crab.
Thank you. Yeah,
which is funny.
thank you. It just came out I want to say
I
2
guess
weeks ago or something like that. 2
Aggro
or 3
Crab
weeks
and
ago.
Landfall.
Very recently. But yeah, like the mechanics of this game too, they like kind of add to this whole premise pretty well, and like the aesthetics of it are really, really cute. Like your little pudgy like children, like little Boy Scouts, and you have the funniest
He's
little
right.
fucking faces.
He's
It's so
right.
cute. It's got like the best voice, add up the what is it, like the
Proximity
vocal
chat.
chat or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I just felt like it was a really unique sort of game. It like took like the concept of all these other like 4-person horror games and made it not a horror game, made it like a climbing game. And the climbing mechanics are fucking spectacular too. I love the way that they work, and it's just a simple, like, you hold the click, you don't have a health bar, you have a stamina bar that could be affected by like poison or injuries or even like
Hunger.
exhaustion and hunger.
Cold,
Right, so like your stamina bar gets
burning.
taken up by other status effects and it gets smaller. I think that its aesthetic really sets it apart from all of these other, 4-person games. There's a lot of really great moments on that stream. The one last time, there's one, actually, if you watch the stream, watch the VOD, at about 35 minutes, I want to say 36 minutes, Mac and my friend Lauren end up falling, and I caught the whole thing, and it's the funniest fucking thing just to see them tumble like, and then they were just gone. Good
I
shit.
do enjoy the simplicity of it.
It
There's a
is,
lot of those
yeah.
4-person horror walk around proximity chat games. And I'm excited for that game, Big Walk. But in
Right,
the
yeah.
meantime, this one, it's cutesy aesthetic is like just super accessible.
Yeah.
It's a great streaming game.
Very great streaming game. This is gonna be a staple for my streams probably for the next like few weeks, honestly.
And I'll say it's quite challenging.
It is. It
The-
is.
The,
We
the
can't get
mountain
past
with
the
the
snow
ice on
biome.
it is a real fucking pain in the ass. They have a bunch of different items in there. There's a backpack that you get another backpack every time you rest, and the backpack can hold a bunch of things in it. So you always end up like one person's got to be the backpack person, and it's just like, God forbid, in a run where the backpack person has a great tumble, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, now we got to go down and get him. He's got the backpack, and it's like,
Or the time that I straight up dropped the backpack and it just fell all the way down the mountain. I'm like, fuck.
yeah, what's that called? Emergent gameplay.
Right.
You have like a person
exactly.
you can like get knocked out, but you won't necessarily be dead, and you can pick the person up and revive them later.
Put them on your back. Yeah.
But I don't
But-
want to go camping with this guy in real
You have
life.
to decide to do said thing because as time goes by, you get hungry and you got consumable items, and so it's
That's
like,
funny.
yeah.
do we go back for Raph? Do you think he survived that fall? Ooh, I don't know. And meanwhile, then you hear Raph go, hey, I'm still
fun.
down here,
That's fun.
down here.
My favorite part, honestly, though, is when you don't survive the fall, you come back as a little ghost that just hovers around your friends. So sometimes
let me
I
die.
kind of play this so that I kind of like surprise people. I'll come up from under the ground and just like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And just like
Very
right up in
stupid.
your face, like, hi there. So yeah, dude, I played Peak. The other thing that I had 2 other things I wanted to talk about really briefly, just because they're just announcements, some anime news. Cyberpunk Edge Runners got a second season.
Yes, I
There's
saw
a
that.
trailer
That's
for
so
it.
exciting.
It literally said blank is dead, but more Edge Runners is coming. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about that one. And also another show that I just saw like a trailer for recently. It's from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist, something called Demons of the Shadow Realm. I had never heard of it, but it's in collaboration with Square Enix and Aniplex and a couple of another company. Looks pretty dope animation wise. I literally know nothing about it, just that it looks really sick. So yeah, that's what else I got right now.
This does look crazy sick.
Cool.
This reminds me of that. Oh God, I never remember the names. That magical girl anime about like it's actually Madoka Magica.
Oh yeah.
This looks like some multimedia Madoka shit. These black and white scenes.
Cool.
This looks cool as hell.
That's a great psychological anime. The magical girl shell is just a
Yeah.
front.
Venny,
There.
what else have you got for us?
So, Night Rain has 4,900 viewers on Twitch currently right now. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has 19,500 viewers right now. I'm just saying, this cute little horse anime girl game is more than you think it is.
I'm glad to hear you said
And,
it was like safe for
and-
work because I was a little concerned. But
But seriously, if you see anyone on a subway train in Tokyo, walking around in Tokyo, in Japan, playing a game on their phone, it's Uma Musume. It's anime girl horse racing, and it's adorable as hell.
Explain how it is played.
It's like, think old school. What was the game called? Where you put the disc in your PlayStation, it would generate you a Monster Rancher.
oh, like Monster Rancher. Yeah.
It's like Monster Rancher with gotcha game mechanics and like timers, and you can only train so many times per day, and there's a campaign and blah blah blah, and it's adorable as hell. You can play on mobile. You can play on Steam. You can
What's
actually
your
link the
horse's
accounts.
name?
Oh, Gold Ship all the way. She's one of
Okay.
the she's one of the top girls in
I like
the
how they have
anime.
like horse names, like they'll just be called like Old Duster or whatever.
they
You know what I
do.
mean?
They
Like,
do.
and here's the Big Butte coming in third or whatever.
Princess
I'm
M puts up
downloading
with a
this
lot.
game
If I start
now.
playing this game, she's gonna look at me really
19,400, 500 concurrent viewers on Twitch at the moment. But anyway, as far as the what else you got, I've been collecting pretty hard on the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set. I'm actually in the middle right now of sleeving a full set. Well, not sleeving, bindering a full set of foil and non-foil for this set. So been working on that. I just spent 31 hours building a playground in our backyard, and I'm finally done with it. And it's beautiful, by the way.
It is beautiful.
Other than that, yeah, pictures in the Discord. Other than that, been playing some Night Rain with Buck. Been playing some Monster Hunter. The newest content update dropped about a week ago. They released 2 new monsters on Monster Hunter Wilds, which has been fantastic. It's some new arch-tempered versions of stuff is coming soon, so more content for Monster Hunter. And I picked up RoboCop Rogue City, 90% off on a sale. So
It's like $5, right?
Looking
No,
forward to
I'm
playing
thinking
that. It was like $5. So I
in my
said,
cart.
you know what? Let's go. And there's also one game. There's also one game that we don't have a release date on yet, but I've had my eyeballs on this game for quite a long time. It's called PVVK, which is short for Planeten Verteig Tigdingungskanon den Kommandant. It's like this big germ. Seriously.
Oh, it's the game where you pilot the big cannon.
Yeah.
Yes.
That planetary defense cannon, and
Yes.
you just follow
my God,
orders
that
from the comfort of your PVVK. You can look it up on Steam, but it's from the comfort of your own little bunker and drink your daily tea ration. Little cog in the wheel. It's
supposed
good
to be
for
like
you.
Papers, Please.
Yes, it's got that Papers, Please vibe, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The visuals on this game are gorgeous. Like super gorgeous. I'm pretty stoked.
PVKK.
PVKK.
It looks like Steel Battalion.
I mean, in the sense that there's a big gun, but
No, I mean the whole interface, like the panel sitting in front of you. Sorry, you played the hardware version of the Steel Battalion. There was a digital Connect version of Steel Battalion where you grabbed fake levers and hit fake buttons, and it looked a lot like that.
okay,
Oh, sure.
interesting.
Well, it's not just about sitting at the console though. Like a la a lot of these
Right.
like psychological just follow orders little person kind of game. It's not just about the main deal. It's about all the stuff that happens around you. And
Yeah, you gotta,
what's
like,
this,
go to bed
What's this
and eat
letter
dinner
that
and
slipped
shit.
through my
Yeah.
door? And what's this package that I got? It said read me. It looks kind of suspicious. I don't know if I'm gonna. The whole like branching story RPG elements. Yeah. It looks badass. I've been looking at it for like a year. I've been waiting on some news, and they've released like 4 developer logs, or excuse me, 2 more developer logs just in the past 2 months. So it's actually getting some traction.
Good.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
That's
this
what I
has been
got.
My wish list for a hot
Collecting chocobos.
minute. All right, well, that is fantastic, and that does it for today's episode. Thank you so much, dear listener or watcher, for listening or watching. Do us a huge favor. Like and subscribe. And tell your friends, why don't you? And if you are just listening, give it a look-see. If you only listen on Spotify, if you're a Spotify person, you should go to the YouTube as well. We do our live streams there. As Raph mentioned, we were playing Peak on there. That was fun and funny. You can reach out to us with any questions, comments, or video games you want us to play at GameTreasurePodcast@gmail.com. Head on over to our Patreon, head on over to our Linktree /the GTP, where you can find our Patreon, patreon.com/the GTP, where you can find our UFO 50 deep dive series, which we just recently recorded the penultimate, so the one right before the last one, episode about the entire fifth line.
That row is banging.
Again, go to Linktree /the GTP to check that stuff out. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find their music on Apple Music, Spotify, and anywhere you can find music on the internet. And, of course, we got to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Megabuck himself. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that takes the hassle out of collecting retro video games. No more hunting, no more guessing, and no more wasted time. Instead, Retro Game Treasure subscribers select from a wide range of consoles and gaming genres to collect from, and then those types of games come to you in the mail every single month to add to your collection. He even keeps track of the games you've already collected, and of course the games that he gives you, to make sure that you never get a repeat game. And if you want to start collecting a new console, there is no better way to start collecting that collection than to go through RetroGameTreasure.com, because you can buy the console from them on their console page, get great deals on new and refurbished consoles. Then you go over to your preferences tab, you tell them that you got that console, and then boom, your next box is going to have hot games for that console ready to play. Start collecting games the easy way today with RetroGameTreasure.com. Buck, can you please hit me with this week's subscribers?
Been a good month, guys. This week we welcome Spencer Miller, Araceli Martinez, Jason Van Orveren, Gage Houghton, Hunter Miller, Artemis Kleeman, Darren A., Aaron Miles, Drew Dawson, Nathan Legault, Jack Verhaeg, Luis Mendoza, Kevin Ellis, Nix DeMarco, Heather Freeman, Joshua Batorne, and Joshua Greenfeld.
Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It means a lot. Until next week, my name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure Podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.